Ladies and gentlemen, episode number 40. As I said, we will stop using numbers now. This is called episode tops. 40, double 20, tops. No one calls it double 20. It's not called double 20. It's just called tops. Very top of the board. As you will see, you can't do it with a green pen because I've got a green screen on. There it is. Tops. Number 40, we have the Bully Boy has won the US Darts Masters. He is timing his run for the World Match Play to perfection. So he's got a bit of a warm-up with the World Cup coming up, which will be good for him, and a few of the other World Series events before the World Match Play. But yeah, just a couple of World Series events. There's a few other things in between, which we'll have a talk about soon. But yeah, timing his run to absolute perfection as to playing well at the match play, and is the most in-form player and would probably be just about the favourite for that event. Right now, if it was played tomorrow, I would say Michael Smith is the most informed player and would be in line to win it. MVG made the final. There wasn't too much to discuss from that entire event, to be honest. So, yeah, that's basically all there was to it. You can see my microphone just there. I'm having a little bit of microphonal issues tonight, but we'll just deal with it. There's only not one ton plus average for the entire US Darts Masters, which is a bit of a disappointment. A bit not shocking. It's shocking, not shocking as in it's a bad thing. It's a shock to me that there was not one ton plus average. We did see James Wade hit 6 of 6 on his doubles, which is just a phenomenal performance. That's what you want from him, from anyone really. It's bloody sensational. I'm going to try and work this. I'm going to try and hold it so that it's in a good spot. There, that looks all right. What I'll do is I'll move the text over so you can see my microphone. Nice and clearly. There we go. That looks cool. All right, where are we? Yep, so a short format as well. So first to 6 for the quarterfinals. Sorry, the round 1, then the quarterfinals went to 8, and 8 for the semis. I think it might have been 9 or 10 for the final. So they only have 0, big fat 0 ton plus averages. Bit crazy. I did say that there would not be an upset from any of the non-seeded, non-PDC players, and the qualifiers will call them. There wouldn't be one upset. There was only one, so I wasn't far off, and that was Leonard Gates getting up 6-2 over Fallon Sherrick. Fallon averaged 70, and that's not high 70s, that's just 70. In context, my best performance, and I'm a very below average pub player, not even an average pub player. My best is 69, so I would have had a chance, a very red hot chance at beating Fallon the way she played. But there is a bit to discuss from that itself. Like, I'm not going to sit here and bag her out too much for a bad performance. We all have bad performances. Yeah, it's just her. That was horrendous for her, really. Like, she wouldn't have played much worse than that for a long time now. And she's been playing darts for a long time, so I would say it's probably one of her worst performances in maybe 10 years. There was an article that came out. So this is a whole other topic for a whole show that's not even about darts. This is about the human mentality. An article based on she didn't feel comfortable on the stage. And the article came from a post that she put on her own Instagram that she just didn't feel comfortable. And of course, the article has the title as "She lost because she didn't feel comfortable." And it's definitely not what Fallon said. She just said after the game that she did not feel comfortable. She didn't say it's why she lost. She's not blaming or anything like that. She just didn't feel comfortable. And that goes from there. They write a different headline. People jump on board, which is another topic towards that we'll come to in a minute. And I'll remind you that's where we were at. But realistically, at the moment, how much is she practicing? That's got to be the one big issue for her. She does a lot of media because she's so popular now. She would be doing a lot of exhibitions here and there, which aren't practice. Exhibitions are there to go and have a bit of fun. If you've got 150 left, you're going bull, 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 and you're doing everything you can to leave 170. Things like that. Exhibitions are just that. They're exhibitions. It's not proper practice. So how much time does she have? You saw The media was hectic over there for all the stars, and Peter Wright pointed it out after one of his matches. There actually wasn't a proper practice room for them to practice on at the event, and that's crazy to think. Like, don't worry about it. When you come to Australia, there'll be 20 boards back there, and there's only going to be 16 players at most at each event, but there'll be 20 practice boards back there. I guarantee you that. We'll do it right over here. And it's super important practice. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some talented players that can grab a dart and just throw. And Gary Anderson has backed that up himself. Not backed it up, but put a point towards it. He did an interview and said through the whole Premier League, he should have been getting beat 6-0 every single week because he is only playing once a week. He plays on a Thursday, and that's it. Everyone else is playing pub darts, doing this, doing that. And Gary Anderson is playing once a week, and that's it. Thursday night. So he should be getting hammered and not even be in the game, and they should be doing better than his opponents to beat him. So it really is super important to practice consistently, especially at that level. I would say probably 2 hours a day minimum. I know Peter Wright has said in the past that if they're feeling good, he won't do much. He might throw 9, 12 darts, but that's when they're feeling good. They're not always feeling good. And for a lot of players at the moment, no one's darts are coming out feeling as good as Peter Wright's did. And Michael Smith's playing particularly well, but a lot of other players aren't really playing very well. Johnny Clayton's probably the best player in the world, probably on par with Michael Smith right this minute. Michael Van Gerwen sometimes is getting back to his best, sometimes struggles. Peter Wright struggling. Gary Anderson, not that he doesn't care, but his heart's not in as much as it was 3 or 4 years ago. Gerwin Price is struggling a little bit. There's a lot of players at the moment, top players that aren't playing particularly well. And a lot of those pros, they're probably just not practicing enough because they're on the road a lot. So a lot of the criticism that Fallon's copped is just not warranted. The PDC want her. She said that as well, that she didn't choose this. The PDC want her. The World Series is a road show, similar to the Premier League, except it's not quite the Premier League. This is more broader than the Premier League. Premier League does Europe and it does the UK. This is going worldwide. And it also gets a chance to showcase the rest of the talent in those countries that we're going to have the challenges versus the PDC stars is pretty unique. And you don't see it often in really any of their tournaments. A lot of qualifiers get a chance at the World Championships, but not like this, where it is legit challenges. So the Australian stars, as we know, are Damon Hedder, who is a star, Simon Whitlock, who is a star and has been for 10 plus years. Gordon Matters is only just working his way up, but is over there with the tour card. And then there's going to be 4 Australian qualifiers and 1 New Zealand qualifier. They're all qualifiers. Not many of them have played PDC. Like Raymond Smith will get in there, who made the top 16. There's a lot of players that will make it in that have played at the Worlds, but not quite to the extent of, you would say Raymond Smith's probably relatively experienced now, that experience that he had, as well as previous World Series events. But the rest of the guys have no experience. So for them to get a chance on the world stage, on the big stage in front of millions of people watching back home in England, and probably 8,000 to 10,000 here in Australia in attendance, that is next level for their progression, and that's what the PDC want. People suggest it's not fair that Fallon gets a go as a PDC star because she has a tour card. That's not what the World Series is about. That's the simple answer to this. The tour card gets you a spot at the Players' Championship events. That's what it does. Get high enough, you get another tour card. Get high enough, you make the Worlds, the Match Play, the Grand Prix, and things like that. There are not many guarantees for a tour card besides the 30 Players' Championships. Some of the European Tours events will be tour card holders as well, but the Premier League, World Series are not tour card events. You don't have to have a tour card. Simple as that. Fallon Sherrock has had some amazing performances on the big stage. That's why she's there. And she draws a crowd, and the crowd love her. And she likes the big stage. She gets up there and performs. Not many other players have done what she's done on the stage. If you go all the way down the tour card list, the guy that's ranked the 128th, which I can't tell you who it is at the moment, but that's not the point, he would not be able to put the performances on the big stage that Fallon Sherrock has. And if you want the World Series to be all about tour card holders, it's not a thing. Like, you wouldn't take 16 people from England and go and take them all around the world when you just leave them in England. So, do you get what I'm saying there? There's 8. So in the Australian events, there's 3 tour card holders. There was 3 at the weekend. I think 2 at the Nordic Darts Masters have tour cards, maybe 2 or 3 at the Dutch Darts Masters. But definitely down here in Australia, there's going to be 3 tour card holders. That's Simon Whitlock, Damon Hedder, Gordon Mathers, and then 5 qualifiers. So if you're going to complain about Fallon, you've got to complain about those 8 qualifiers as well, which we say that's not the World Series is not about another tour card holder championship. That's not what they want to see. It's not how they're going to get the world interested. Yes, some people might get excited by having 16 Englishmen come over and play darts, but we want to watch our guys go, and that's what's going to get us interested, not another tour card holding championship. Simple as that. And it's tough on Fallon. She gets a lot of online hate saying that she's just in it for a big payday. Yeah, she might be, but so what? Who wouldn't be? If they offered me 10K and return flight tickets to go to New York and play, I would. And so would all the people that sit on there and type shit, because that's what they are. Look, most of them, at the risk of being, not provocative, but we'll say provocative. At the risk of being provocative, a lot of them are older white men that probably were okay at darts when they were younger, and probably like me averaged around that 70 mark, 80 on a good day, and are very disappointed that Fallon Sherrick's getting a crack, and they weren't able to do it. They'd be the same people that hate on Gerwyn Price and dislike how he goes about his darts, and they would just not like it because they can throw a 70 and 80 average and be respectful, as they say. But and she's putting her balls on the line here too. As much as you say it's a big payday, you go to the World Championships round 1 and you get the same payday that she's getting for the World Series, one of the World Series events, I know. But if she makes it further at the Worlds, which she can, then she makes that money and gets even bigger and gets a tour card and then makes even more money. So by saying she's going for a payday, that's nothingness, and that is just not doing your research, because by playing in all the World Series events, she's missing some of the Women's Series. Top 2 players on the Women's Series Order of Merit make the World Championships. Top 8 will play at the Women's World Match Play. Top 2 will play at the Grand Slam. So there's a lot on the line through that Women's Series, and she's going to have to miss some to compete at the World Series. So that's it in a nutshell, that she's just trying to compete and be on everything. I hope she gets some time to get back on the practice board. She gets to the Women's Series and does well and puts all that shit to bed, because it's just outrageous. As I said, it's not just her. It's the same for Gerwyn Price. You want to see the end of that. You want to see the end of people picking on Michael Smith. So get back on the board, Fallon. Just practice. That's all it was. You could see the way she was throwing. They just weren't quite coming out right, and we all know how that feels. And the only thing that fixes that is practice. We're going to keep it tight tonight. Try and keep it nice and short and sharp. What we're going to do is talk about the PDC schedule, whichever one you use. We went through it a little bit the other night, but we're going to go in a little bit more depth right now. Now, what I was thinking the other day is darts, particularly what's happening with the way the PDC is going about it, is it at a crossroads? The schedule is jam-packed. Michael Smith plays in everything he can, and he's a legend like that, and we love watching him as much as we possibly can, because when he gets going, he's a freak. MVG plays in a lot. He may take a European tour off here and there, because the European tour events are like an order of merit for the European Championships, and he is well and truly dominating the Euro Tour. Only Humphrey's anywhere near him. Michael Smith may get a little bit higher. So you can use Michael van Gerwen, or even let's pretend Michael Smith made the Premier League finals, just for a look at their schedule. They've already been on the road for 3 or 4 weeks now. The Premier League runs around and goes to all the different events, has a few nights in England, but it also goes up to Dublin. It goes to Glasgow. It goes to Amsterdam. I think there was a night in Germany as well. That's on a Thursday night. They're then flying back for European tour potentially, which not most of them in Germany, some in Belgium, or they're flying to the Players' Championship events for the weekend. So, and those two aren't alone. So you've got Johnny Clayton, Gerwyn Price, James Wade. They all play in a lot of stuff. Joe Cullen plays in quite a bit. A lot of them have been on the road for a while now. They've just left the US on the weekend, just gone by. And sorry, I'm looking at my notes while I do this because it's pretty important that you get it semi-accurate. So they've just left the US. They're heading for the Nordic Darts Masters in Copenhagen. 2 days later, they'll be in Berlin for the Premier League finals. Then 2 days after, the following days, there's 2 Players' Championship events just the other side of Germany. Just down the road in Frankfurt, I think 2 days, there might be a day gap in between there. They're at the World Cup of Darts for 3 days. That's insane. That's an insane amount of darts for those guys. So Johnny Clayton, Gerwyn Price. Michael van Gerwen's not playing in the World Cup, so he's going to get some nice time off there. Probably won't play in the Players' Championship events, I wouldn't think. No, I don't think he's playing the Premier League finals, then he's getting an operation. So, but that's a busy, jam-packed schedule. So I think Johnny Clayton will be in all that. No, he's not playing in that either. So most of them should get a rest. So the Premier League finals is Price, Clayton, Cullen, Wade. So it'll be James Wade who'll be the hardest hit at the moment, depending how much of that he plays. I don't know if he'll play those 2 Players' Championship events, but there's probably not time to go home. So after the World Cup of Darts, 5 days later, they're in Amsterdam for the Dutch Darts Masters, the World Series event. I can't see. I'm wondering what's going to happen with Michael van Gerwen there because he's getting operated on straight after the Premier League finals. So I don't think he'll be the Dutch Darts Masters. And then back to Germany the next weekend for European darts match play after maybe another 5 days at home. So that's 10 days home in about 25 to 20 days. Unbelievable. July, they might all get a little bit of a breather. There's 3 Players' Championship events in Barnsley on the 9th, 10th and the 11th. Then the World Match Play from the 16th to the 24th. That's July's schedule. So a bit of a break, bit of a reprieve there. Most of August, they're in Australia and New Zealand. European Tour the first weekend in September. European Tour in Jena, the second weekend of September. Third weekend, they have a World Series finals in Amsterdam. And the fourth weekend, a Euro Tour in Belgium. So you think with 2 of those being World Series events, no, so you got Euro Tour, World Series and Euro Tour. Michael Smith will play a lot of them. Gerwyn Price will play a lot of those, I'd say. Johnny Clayton will play in every single one. So will Michael Smith and possibly James Wade. It is a ridiculous amount of travel for the big stars. Gaz doesn't play the Euro Tour. He sticks to Premier League Players' Championship events and the big ones. Eventually, he'll stop qualifying for things because he won't do as well. All he has to really do for quite a while to be right up there is just do well at the Grand Slam, which he normally does. Grand Prix, but the match play and the World Championships. If he keeps doing well at those, he'll be all right. Gerwyn eventually won't qualify. Gerwyn hates the travel. Too much for him. Says the schedule's getting out of control, which it is, like what I've just gone through. That's nuts. Gary Anderson says there was no way he'd be able to do it. I worry it'll become too much for Johnny Clayton, who seems to be a really down-to-earth guy. Still works as a roof plumber when he gets his chance, I think. I think he's a roof plumber, but still does his job. Part-time job sometimes. Joe Cullen and Michael Smith seem to just love playing darts and will compete in everything, and there's no issues there. But imagine being maybe someone like Damon Hedder. I know Dimitri Vandenberg moves over to England a lot, but a lot of stuff's sort of over in Europe, so not as bad. But someone like Damon Hedder or Simon Whitlock when he was younger as well, even still now, but he's a bit more settled and so are his kids and wife. He's just moved over from Perth to England, and now he's travelling that much. Imagine when he gets to the Premier League and gets that high up the rankings. He'll be traveling after traveling across the world and moving his whole family. So things like that will be tough. As you try and grow the game around the world, you jeopardise lifestyle. If they haven't got that quality of player in the different locations you travel to, you got to bring the players with you. And that's what they do. And they bring the big 8 stars because they're the ones that draw a crowd. If you're going to take, we'll use Damon Hedder as an example now. If you're going to take Damon Hedder over to England, Chris Dobie, maybe Ryan Searle, Rob Cross is a little bit bigger of a name, but some of these guys that are absolute gun dart players that we love, especially here at Arrow Slingers, we love all those players. And I would do anything to watch Ryan Searle throw those big 36-gram darts. But not many other people know them, and the party atmosphere the darts is, a lot of them go there for the party. They might not know about the darts. But then those names help bring you along. If it's Ryan Searle and, say, Luke Humphries instead of Michael Van Gerwen versus Gerwin Price, it's just not going to draw that big a crowd. So the pressure is on those top guys to do the best. But as I said, it's a lifestyle that they have to then adjust to. Michael Smith, as I said, seems to have it under control. He must have a great support at home. His wife and kids must be amazing to support him and continue to help him along with his career. But not many of the others seem to be able to handle it as well. Not that they wouldn't have the support, but yeah, it'll be tough. Paul Nicholson did an article on the money that you make from darts, and it's a really good one, and try and find that and have a read. The top 16 do well. The rest of the guys, it still can be quite tough. And we want the best players playing as much as possible. But you can't have those top 8 or top 16 guys who do make a bit more of the cashish burning out and wearing out. Like, I don't want to see Gerwin Price in 5 years' time drop out from darts altogether and go, nah, I'm done. He's only 36 years old or something. He can play for another 15, 16 years minimum. So we want to see that. Look, do they need 15-plus Euro Tour events before having the European Championship finals? No. Can they shorten the Premier League and stick to the UK and one night in Amsterdam? Yeah, they probably can. Although even Amsterdam, as much as Michael Van Gerwen's massive, he's massive everywhere, and it's just not the same without Barney. No offence to Michael Van Gerwen. So there's a bit to do for the PDC, a little bit of work there. I think, as I said, it's just they're travelling a lot. They're doing the hard yards. It's no surprise that there's no ton-plus averages being thrown at the US Darts Masters, even though you've got those gun players. No surprise there. Yeah, schedule too much. Try and reduce it. Maybe get more players playing. Yeah, don't know. Right, so there is a lot coming up. Now, the Nordic Darts Masters is on this weekend coming up. That should be exciting. Similar format, or identical format, the only difference being the challenges. And Dimitri Vandenberg's coming in. Johnny Clayton is going out. They haven't brought out the actual draw yet of who's playing who, which stars are coming up against which challenges. But at the moment, I'm going to say probably no upsets. Darius Labanauskas and Matas Razma, definitely big chances depending who they draw. But my tip for the whole thing, I'm going to look past Michael Smith because I think he's going to be burnt out from a lot of travel. And a man that's well rested and ready to tear it apart. And I did tip a bigger year from him this year, but he's let me down so far. Dimitri Vandenberg to win this one. I think he will come in nice and refreshed, and he will have a massive, massive win. And that'll boost him too. That'll be another player getting in red hot form. Right, so on Monday night, how strange is that? The Premier League finals are on. So you got Michael Van Gerwen playing James Wade and Joe Cullen playing Johnny Clayton. It's pretty sure it's first to 10, so best of 19. And whoever finished higher on the Premier League ladder is throwing first. No bullseye. No bull. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, Bulloff, we'll call it. So Michael Van Gerwen will throw first against James Wade, and Johnny Clayton will throw first against Joe Cullen. Look, I think this is going to go. This is a pretty playing it safe style tip. I'm going to go with the first place player to beat the fourth place and the second place to beat the third place. So it'll be a Clayton Van Gerwen final. And I think it'll be Johnny Clayton to go back-to-back and have a win. You won't see any 9-darters. I'll be surprised if the averages are even too high. I'm just still concerned about how hard they're all working. But anyway, yeah. I think maybe being rested up after not playing at the Nordic Darts Masters will do Johnny Clayton some good. And I think Joe Cullen's going to be too well rested. He probably hasn't been throwing too much darts of late. So, yeah, Johnny Clayton to win. Yeah. DPA, the final 3 events for the Order of Merit Tour coming up this weekend. I'm a tad concerned about how many will rock up. The top 10 in each state basically can't drop out of the top 16. I was going to bring it all up and show it all, but the top 10 not changing. The only jostling will be from that 16th, around that 16th spot. So because the 16th place finishers go to you got to play in half the events and finish top 16, and then you're into the Order of Merit finals. All you have to do to compete in the Oceanic is have played 50% of the tournaments. So that is how that works. So the top 16, South Australia don't even get 16, so I'm not sure what happens there. If they're even interested, I think Rhys Mathewson is also very close to Victoria's top 16. He might not be in it, but it might only take... Oh, no, he wouldn't have played 50%. But, So, the top 8 in each state, only guys who can win it. Yeah, that's what that means. The top 8 in each state are the only guys that can really win any of those events and be the guys qualifying. So anyone below 8th is really not going to be challenging too much anyway. So I think they could definitely reduce that top 16 from each state to 8 to make it shorter and sharper, because that's a lot of the issues with some of the Australian stuff at the moment. There's far too many people in one room when you're not used to it. Imagine being Danny Porter, who's got 5 other people in the room most weekends, and all of a sudden having 16 times by 5 is 80. So he'll have 80 people in the room with him at the Order of Merit finals, and more than that at the Oceanic Masters. Now, I think Queensland may have been postponed. I haven't found anything about that yet. I've just seen literally maybe 30 minutes ago, I've just seen it written down that the registering for that of the Queensland event has been left open for 2 weeks. So I'm not 100% sure what that means. As soon as we find out, we will let you know. But yeah, so the other 4 locations are on. Their registering hours have been extended as well, which is a bit of a bad time. I think they normally do extend it to Wednesday night, sometimes maybe Tuesday. But I think a week ago there was only maybe 5 names for each state. So, but that always happens. They'll come through. So enjoy the weekend of darts. The Premier League finals is going to be massive. I've got a game tonight. If I win here, I'm guaranteed finals. I've got one more game this week. Even if I lose both, I'm still a red-hot chance to make finals, and we'll see how we go from there. Darts are coming out very well. I cannot decide between the Harrows Ice recut and the Magnum Reloaded, also by Harrows. The Magnum Reloaded is a better dart, 97% tungsten, and it flies through the air like an absolute beauty. It's slightly narrower, so I think the Ice is maybe 6.8 mil, the Magnum 6.4 mil in width, and the thinner darts are much better. But the grip has gone already, so I only had them for about a month, and the grip is almost non-existent. And so it's a very slippery dart, which is a real shame because I really was liking it. So there is a dart I'm hunting down at the moment, having a good look at, also by Harrows. Noctis, it's called. It looks like a very thin dart. All I'm concerned about is the amount of tungsten. Maybe the reason those Magnums fly so well is the fact that they are 97% tungsten. I don't know. Don't really care too much. I just throw for a bit of fun at the moment. If I start getting consistently up around that 70 average mark, which I've almost hit in a match before, I have hit it against the Dartbot, but we don't count that because it's not a real match. But the online stuff, I've hit 69.4, I think. So if I was to consistently hit over 70, I'll consider practicing even more. But yeah, that's really not important. As I said, enjoy the darts, have some fun. The Premier League, it wraps up now, which is always great news. Not because the Premier League's wrapped up, but it's another major final. We get to see who's the winner. But that leads us into some massive darts coming. I cannot wait for the second half of the year. It's the best time of the year for darts. You've got so many big tournaments coming up. I normally do love the Premier League, but this time of year, I do get a little bit like, well, I've seen these matches played millions of times. And that's the main issue with that format. My main issue with that format, well, as I said, the main issue is the dragging out, the building up of suspense. The next issue is the amount of Van Gerwen v Clayton clashes we've seen this year is unreal. My camera's delaying. It's being a bit silly. So I'll wrap it up there. Johnny Clayton to win the Premier League. Dimitri Vandenberg to win the Nordic Darts Masters. And another Danny Porter domination down in South Australia. See you guys.